California. How are you guys? It's great to be in this room here with all of you today. I traveled yesterday down from San Jose, and this is a fabulous conference. I do want to give a little shout out to Kathy, who did a wonderful, wonderful job putting this together. Is that good? Can you hear me? So, as Jim said, I'm the California State Coordinator. I've been in this position for almost a year now. My background education is a PhD in polar oceanography from Stanford University, followed by some postdoctoral fellowships studying climate change in the Arctic using supercomputers at NYU and NASA. I have been with CCL for about 3.5 years. I first heard about them through Jim Hansen. I heard him speak at NASA twice in 1 week, and I thought I knew a lot about the scene because I had trained with Al Gore for the Climate Reality Project. And Jim Hansen mentioned this group, Citizens Climate Lobby, and I had never heard of them before. But I'm so glad that I did, and right after that, we founded a chapter in Silicon Valley North, where I was living at the time. And I also have gone through the training with Ellie to give group start workshops, and I'm happy to say that I gave the first 2 group start workshops in the state of Nevada. So, when I think about what I want in life, this is it. To be part of an organization working to solve what may be the most pressing problem ever to face humanity, and to go about it in a respectful and compassionate manner. I love getting out of bed every morning and spending much of the day working for CCL. I love being surrounded by climate heroes, big and small. I love that CCL is for things and not against. I love being for clean air and clean water and healthy forests and healthy crops. And I love my fellow volunteers. So, next we're going to play a game called Who's Tasha This Time? I will read you a number of quotes from the year's news, and it's your job to identify the author of each quote. Answer 2 or more correctly, and you will win our prize, Marshall's voice on your home answering machine. Are you ready to play? I love NPR. Okay, here we go. Quote, "Get to work. We have work to do. I see that Citizens Climate Lobby are here. They are amazing, on-the-ground grassroots, fighting for a price on carbon. The single most important thing we can do. Because this is a difficult, complicated issue. But the single most important thing we can do is to put a price on carbon so we all pay the true cost of fossil fuels. And Citizens Climate Lobby is out there working in every state of this union, mobilizing Republicans, Democrats, and independents to work for that. Please join Citizens Climate Lobby." Okay, does anyone know who's... That was not Obama. Obama's a good guess. It actually... Not Catherine Hayhoe. No, you guys are great, all great guesses. No. Okay, it's a woman. She said this in San Francisco in December. I guess this is a hard one, so I'll let you guys know. It's Naomi Oreskes, a scientist from Harvard, who is speaking at the Stand Up for Science at the American Geophysical Union Conference in December in San Francisco. So that was a hard one. Okay, these will be a little more obvious, perhaps. Okay, here we go. This one I have 3 separate quotes, so you can have 3 chances. "The time has never been more urgent, and your work has never been more important. The danger is definitely rising. The power of a few to disrupt the world has never been greater. The few can wreak untold havoc on the lives of millions." I'll keep going. A separate one from the same talk. "We have the laws, we have the tools of enforcement, and we have the political will. We will set the stage, we'll set the example, and whatever Washington thinks they're doing, California is the future." Yes! And then my favorite part of Jerry Brown's speech, some people say they will turn off the satellites that are monitoring the climate. If Trump turns off the satellites, California will launch its own damn satellites. We are going to collect that data. Okay, good. Okay, let's see. This one might be a little tough too. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. No. No. Okay, I think that this is a little on the random side. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. So those two are both Elon Musk. Okay, and here's this quote. Ready? I love this. That was a quote. So that was said when 28 CCLers went up to the microphone during a hearing in Sacramento on Assembly Joint Resolution 43. No, it wasn't me, although I did love it. So that was actually California State Senator Robert Hertzberg, chair of that committee, that said out loud, I love this. I love it. Okay, and then my favorite of this list, I used to think that the important people were taking care of the important... Very good. I used to think that the important people were taking care of the important problems. I don't think that anymore. Yeah, Marshall. Okay, I want to share a couple of numbers with you guys. So these are mostly numbers for the whole state. So we have, who knows how many active chapters we have? Okay, in California. Oh, good guess. Yeah, we have about 38 right now. We have 21 in progress groups. We have 84 group leaders and 13 potential group leaders. Who knows how many supporters/volunteers we have for California? What was that? Yeah, actually even a few more than 8,000. So the latest number is 8,272 supporters in California. Yeah. So we have 55 members of Congress, and for those 55 members, we have 48 primary liaisons as well as 30 backup liaisons. So we have a few districts missing primary liaisons, and when I put this list together last week, we had 8 districts missing liaisons, and then yesterday it was 7, and this morning it was 6, and this afternoon it was 5. So, yes. So those are filling right up, which is fabulous. 2 of those districts are in Northern California, so we have the 3 Southern California ones are District 21, David Valladio in the San Joaquin Valley. So if you know anyone living in that part of the state and you want to nudge them to get active with CCL, we'd love that. District 29, Tony Cardenas, that's Panorama City area, and that's in the works. We have some chapters there and hopefully a liaison to follow soon. And then California 44, Nanette Barragan. Barragan.
I elected her.
Barragan. Did I get it right? Okay, more or less.
I can't speak Spanish either.
Okay, and yes, so we have a backup liaison for Nanette, and we're looking for a primary liaison. Super. Okay, and then I want to give a quick shout out to our newest liaison. So California 43, Maxine Waters. Now Kent Stumple is the new liaison. And then in California 50 with Duncan Hunter, Charles Junk is the new liaison. I'm going to take a moment to tell you about the grades that our 55 members of Congress are getting. So CCL has a reverse grading scale, so A, B, C, D. So A is terrible and D is fantastic. So as far as, so we have a rating for carbon fee and dividend, how on board they are with our proposed legislation. So we have At the bottom, 8 A's, and then 13 B's, 22 C's, and 12 D's. And we also have a rating for where they are on climate in general. And so for that, we only have 2 A's, which is fantastic, 6 B's, 9 C's, and then we have 38 D's. Lots of California representatives concerned about climate. I don't have the names, and that's confidential anyway. So I mentioned in the quotes about the AJR 43 hearing, and I think Craig mentioned this morning about AJR 43. So that was Assembly Joint Resolution 43 that went through the California legislature last summer. A shout out to John Kelly, who got it started in Santa Barbara. Is John around? Oh, okay. Well done, John. Thank you for helping make that happen. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it was basically a piece of legislation that passed through the California legislature saying that they would urge federal Congress to introduce a carbon fee and dividend like the one we propose. So that was a fantastic win for the state of California. On that, though, when we showed up in November and lobbied with our California representatives, most of them didn't know about it at all, really. So please keep that in mind, especially if you're having meetings in district for Spring Lobby Drive, or if you're going to DC in June. That is something we'd like to present and for our representatives to become aware of that legislation that went through the California legislature. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you a little story. This is my CCL success story, and while I'm reading it, I hope that you'll sort of begin crafting your own CCL story if you haven't yet. So yeah, I'll just read this to you guys. I had the fortunate opportunity to attend my first Washington, D.C. CCL conference in June of 2014. Being a liberal from California, I had assumed that most of my lobbying meetings in Congress would be with West Coast Democrats. This was not the case. I was assigned to 5 meetings in Republican offices across the country. I felt unprepared to think in this frame of mind that was needed for those meetings. So I crammed. I went back to the lobby training webinar on preparing us for meetings with Republican offices that I had skimmed over the first time around. Don't mention the taboo phrases: climate, climate change, global warming, environment, tax. You may ask yourself, what does that leave? Well, here's an example. We propose a piece of legislation that will stimulate the economy, increase jobs, reduce premature deaths, benefit human health, and all through a simple fee with all money returned to American households. I followed the suggested guidelines, and my meetings went well. I'll highlight one of them here. We were in a Republican's office with both a junior and a senior staffer. The junior said about 2 sentences the entire meeting. The senior staffer was quite something. We avoided the buzzwords, but it seemed that he thought he had us figured out. At one point, I brought up the fire analogy. We don't buy fire insurance because we expect that our house will burn down. We buy it because there is a very small but very real chance that it might. We don't need to expect that climate change will burn down our house for us to want insurance against the case that it might. The senior staffer turned and looked at me and with a straight face said, "Why would we buy insurance for something that doesn't exist?" Boom, I was floored. This was my first face-to-face encounter with climate denial. For the rest of the meeting, I felt a bit deflated until the end. When we were wrapping up the meeting, I said, "Thank you for your time today." I was surprised when the senior staffer replied, "It was very nice to meet with you, and I look forward to continuing our discussion." I thought, continuing our discussion? Awesome. My outlook brightened and smoothed over the rough edges left by my close encounter with climate denial. Thank you. So I'll just leave you with one of my favorite quotes. This one's shorter than the other ones. And it goes, it's by Eleanor Roosevelt, and it goes, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Thank you.